My name is Wes Gutekunst, and I operate Gutekunst Design here in Oklahoma City. I grew up here in Oklahoma City. I have great parents, I had a great family. Grew up going to church, went to Oklahoma State, and when I went to Oklahoma State, I got around a good group of guys. I was always surrounded by good groups of people. I can tell you, God's always blessed me in that regard. I was in a fraternity. I had the opportunity to kind of lead them there as the chaplain, and started growing my faith there a little bit. But I will say, I didn't realize how much I was relying probably on everybody else and not so much on like my own faith. But I made a decision to take a job in North Carolina, and it was a very challenging job. And I was no longer surrounded by my community. And so when we were out there, I got really focused on work, got really focused on trying to succeed in a worldly sense, and got really just distracted from following Christ in some ways. Just came to a point where I needed to make a change. We moved back, and when we moved back to Oklahoma, that was where I started really thinking about what it looks like to work for the Lord. I had a lot of guys when I came back to Oklahoma who helped form that kind of mentality around me. I realized I needed that community again, so I got plugged in at church, obviously, got plugged in with key people that kind of really helped to get me back on track to focusing on what God's will is for my life and not so much what Wes's will is for his life. And I started serving. That was the first thing that I started doing, and it's the first thing I always tell people to do. If they're not serving, serve somewhere. And I never feel closer to God than when I'm serving others. I started serving in students, got to meet a lot of really amazing guys that were just leading in a Christ-centered way and showing me a way to do that as well. I got asked to be in a young professional group by my buddy Tyler, who invited me in. And the young professional group here at CBMC is really just helping young men navigate the workplace in a Christ-centered way, right? We're trying to figure out how they can live out their faith in the workplace and what that looks like. I think a huge part of my story is understanding the need for community, the need for understanding that you need to have people in your life that know what's going on with you, that will not only hold you accountable, but will also help point you back to Christ. I was kind of aging out of that young professional realm, and Randy reached out and asked if I'd be interested in maybe facilitating, leading the group. I prayed about that and thought about that, and there's a lot of things we do as Christians, I think, that's easy to do. It's easy to show up and consume. And it was one of those things where I'd been in this group and consumed a lot. And I think it was just one of those things where God was telling me, maybe it's time for you to stop consuming so much and start trying to share more with others. And there's a humility aspect to that for sure for me, because I'm inadequate. I had a smart guy once told me that inadequacy is what creates capacity for God to work in our lives. If we don't recognize our own inadequacy, if we don't recognize our need and to rely on God, what would we need Him for?